We're now going to talk about the 14th century. Okay, the 14th century is the 1300s. I know it's proper frustrating that the 14th century is the 1300s, as well as having daylight saving scrapped, so we just the same time every year and we just permanently stay on daylight saving time. I'd like to see that happen. My second thing is I'd love the first century to be in the 100s, and the second century the 200s, and the 14th century to be the 1400s. I would love that. It really frustrates me, but until the Prime Minister responds to my many emails, we're stuck with it this way. So when I say 14th century, think of the 1300s. Okay, in the mid 14th century you get this book called Mandeville's Travels, and you get this Mappa Mundi, a map of the world. And with these two artifacts, the impression that Europeans have of Africa ties in with some of the stuff that Pliny the Elder said years before, okay? And Egyptians in it are depicted as lying naked in the hot sun. And Africa's described as having monsters in it, having these monopods, like people with just one foot, okay? These monopods in Ethiopia and Asia, and then these blemmies. These people, they don't have any heads, okay? They got no heads, so imagine their shoulders is where their body stops. And they have faces on their chests, okay? And then there's these people, the Marmony, who have 4 eyes, and they're ruled by the Cyclops. I think you know who the Cyclops is, you know, the big dude with 1 eye. Okay, so imagine that. There's been this travel book that tells you these are the people that I've seen in Africa. And what it does is it dehumanizes Africans. Not only that, but it centers humanity around Europe, where Europe starts to be seen as Europeans are what humanity is, and the Africans are something other. So it's setting up the idea that Africans might not be made in the image of God. And I'm not saying that anyone's saying that yet, but I'm saying it's setting up the idea for that. Now, around this time, what's interesting as well is, remember the curse of Ham myth? Well, that made its way to the Muslim world. And you know probably that there was Muslim slave trading going on of Africans. And Muslims had heard this myth, and some of them agreed with it as the reason for slavery, and some of them didn't. So, for example, back then in the 14th century, you got a Muslim historian, Khaldun, who he disagreed with his contemporaries who said that Negroes are the children of Ham, the son of Noah, and that they were singled out to be black as the result of Noah's curse, which produced Ham's colour and the slavery God inflicted upon his descendants. So this myth got received by the Muslim world with mixed views. Now, David Goldenberg, he thinks that this myth then went from Muslims and through trade routes went to Europe. When I've looked into it, I felt like it was too hard for me to work out for sure which way the myth of the curse of Ham made its way into Europe, but it eventually made its way into Europe, and we hear it come up a lot in the future.